Hi, everyone. This is Jeff Herring, and welcome to episode 37 of the Content Profit Show. And I want to start with a question for you today. Can you take a 5 point podcast, not an article, a podcast, and turn it into a profitable mini course? We are going to answer that question in just a moment. Welcome, everyone. Again, this is Jeff, and I am really excited about today's show because in every invitation and everything I do, I say, we'll convert your article or another type of content into a profitable product in 20 minutes or less. And today we get to do another one. Yay, Dawn. I love it. I love the idea of doing a podcast. We are with Dawn, it's Dawn. Is it Dawn or Dawn Marie?
Dawn Marie or DM if it's easier.
Okay, either. Okay, fine. And Dawn Marie, and pronounce your last name for me.
It's Mutell.
What is it?
Mutell, just like it's.
Mutell. Okay. I thought I heard an S. And usually, folks, I do this stuff in the show prep, but we had some technical difficulties, so we kind of dove in here, so you guys wouldn't have to wait. Let me tell you about Dawn. Her podcast. Listen to this. It offers you tips, tricks, tutorials, and interviews on how to live a very necessary and luxurious lifestyle for the home, body, spirit, and business. Parentheses on a beer and pretzel budget. I love it. I mean, who wouldn't want to do this? So, Dawn, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
It's a pleasure. Great to have you here. Tell us how you got into what you're into with life's necessities and all the other things I'm learning that you're into.
It was a pretty long journey, but I had started out in theater. I was going to be a dancer and on Broadway. That was my dream. That was my goal. And then I had a misfortune of an accident with a drunk driver hit my car when I was doing a show, in the middle of doing a show, and wind up, knocking out some stuff in my back and spine. And so it kind of put my dance career on the back seat. And so I was thinking, what am I going to do? And I wound up working in the music business for a long time, but I still felt really empty. And I felt like I wasn't really giving back the way I wanted to. And so I came across at FIT about getting to fashion styling. I always thought I loved fashion. My mom got me into that as a young girl. And I thought, well, why not take some classes just to check it out? And I really loved it. And I loved being able to help people look good and feel good about themselves, because there's so many people that I feel like, even with myself, I had confidence challenges. I was always very, very thin as a kid and got made fun of all the time. And so, it played with my mind a bit. So I wind up saying, how can I, help people and help myself as well? Because I learned to do it for myself. And so it was great to be able to do it for men and women.
What a great question. How can I help other people and myself at the same time? I'm fascinated by what you do, because every week I hear somebody go, wait a minute, I've known you for X years and you haven't aged. Especially people online that, have known me for 15, 16, 17 years. And somebody asked me that last weekend at the transit weekend, a middle school kids weekend we did. And, how do you do that? And I waved my hand. I said, right here. Being around this age, it just keeps you young. And so does taking care of yourself. So let's dive in here and go over to our screen. And here we go. And you know what? Let's make it bigger for the folks. And I can make it even bigger, I think. Oops, that's going the wrong way. All right, cool, better. All right, so this is Dawn's podcast, and there will be a link to it in the show notes after we're done here. I want you to go check it out. This is Life Necessities and Luxuries. And what's the name of the up and coming podcast?
It's called Dish It with Dawn.
I love it. I love it.
I'm going to dish it out to everyone.
I love it. It's like one of those names that you can kind of give your own meaning to it and go check it out. I like that. And so this one is about 5 tips to live an amazing life. No, that's what the podcast is about. Let's scroll down, Jeff. 5 simple ways to get your skin glowing like the sun. Nice title. Very nice title. Um, and it is especially, you did this on August 3rd of last year. It's especially good that we're doing this show now, mid-February, because everybody's starting to think about spring and beach and outdoors and all that, stuff that does such wonderful things to our skin. Um, so what out of those 5 simple ways, what's one of your favorites?
Drinking lots of water. It's a simple thing, but so many of us deprive ourselves of hydration. And I find that if you drink a lot of water, your skin gets pumped up from all the cells. You need to, to feed them with water, just like a plant. If you don't water it, it just kind of wilts and dies. And so I
Yes.
found that drinking a lot of water will keep your skin looking so much less liney and less flaky. So if you have dry skin, it's a great combative to help keep it nice and soft and
And
supple.
anybody that's ever been dehydrated knows you need water. That happened to me, just stunned me about 2 years ago. There's a place near here called the Edge of the World. It's on a river, but it hits all these rocks and dips and stuff. And you can go out onto the rocks. I mean, they're huge. So I was one Saturday morning, I was just working at home, hadn't been up long. A buddy called me up and said, "Hey, I'm taking my family up there. You want to come?" I said, "All right, we'll come meet you." So I hadn't really eaten, and I hadn't had much water. Okay, and it was a hot day. So I go out there and I'm messing around with everybody, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm going to pass out, you
Wow.
know. And I went to the side, and the people I sat next to looked at me like, okay, and they were giving me extra water from what I had. Um, and I was in bad shape. My buddy's wife works in cardiology, and we walked back, and she made me sit every 5 minutes and took, my pulse. And I'm telling you, everybody, that story to really underscore what Dawn's saying. Hydrate. I would rather spend a lot of time in the bathroom than that time on the edge of the river where I thought I was going to pass out. Right. Um, but I think you're right about most people don't really think about it, you know, and then
Mm-mm.
wonder why they don't feel good and wonder why they've got this and they've got that and the other thing. So this really repurposes well into a variety of things. And I love the way you've used Captivate.fm here with the black and the what would you call that, maroon?
It's like a burgundy. It's a cross between a burgundy and like a burnt red or something to that
Okay,
effect.
somewhere in there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at what we can do with this. Um, so Dawn's New Digital Empire, starting with the 5 Point Podcast. Now, there's lots of things this could be. You could transcribe it, and it's an ebook, and articles, um, master classes, webinars. And I chose mini course because, and you can build a bigger course out of 5 points, but having listened to the podcast, I think they're brief enough to put into a mini course. And by the way, I listened to the podcast on at 1.5 times the normal speed, and you talk a lot slower in person. It's wonderful. Um, and so, this could be 5 modules. Are there any of the points in there, Dawn, that you could combine into 1 point?
Well, the nutrition part could also, I guess, be could put in with the water
Okay.
because we do have to feed our skin as well with nutrients and different supplements. As we age, we lose elasticity in our skin, and so we definitely want to keep the collagen and the proteins going. And so That's something that I find they work hand in hand. Like if you have really, if you have like say a lot of lines on the face and if you look in the mirror and your skin looks dull, things like that, it could be that you're just lacking some vitamins. And so it could just be drink some more fruit juices and stay away from sugar, because sugar just depletes all the water out of your skin. So you may want to just think about, oh, what am I eating? Because if you're breaking out a lot, it could be from your diet as well. And sometimes medications can also have adverse effects in the skin as well. So I find that they all kind of play with each other, and
Right.
you may not even know that you're eating, candies that you love, but you're breaking out, or you love French fries and the grease from the French fries are making you break out, or it could be a
Yeah.
hair product that you
There,
use,
there is
or soap.
there is that, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so we could combine them, or we could do individual mini modules. I think that's the first time I've ever used that phrase, mini modules.
Mm, I
Gonna
like
write
it.
that down. And we can talk about that later when you and I are talking. For now, um, for your benefit in the audience, let's call it 5 modules. Now, we're looking here at things that can go in there. Video training. People love demos. We're doing one now. Articles, checklist, template. Checklists would really lend themselves well to this
Mm.
about skincare and life care. Have you done this? Have you had enough water, Jeff, before you go out in the sun in the river, et cetera, et cetera? Template Q&A. Because it's a mini course, Dawn, I wouldn't recommend doing every one of these. What are they? 1, 2, 3, 6 things. Mix and match. Um, and you might not be able to do a demo for each of those 5, and that's okay, as long as like 3 out of the 5 have a demo, because demos is what really pull people in and appeal to folks. But you could do one module with like a video training, and maybe
Mhm.
a snippet of a article of the transcribed podcast. Um, and another could be just a complete demo. Another could be a checklist in a video, um, that kind of thing. Um, so this is super ripe for a mini course. Something like this. One of the big questions is always, well, how would I price that? So I try to get to that. Um, Knowing that more can come after it, I would start this around 37.47 as a mini course, because it's a whole lot better to start low and then grow to high than start high and have the backup. Okay. And so one of the ways you can do this um, is something called the backstage pass strategy, where, if you, after this is complete, you could sell it for 97 or more, and just say to people when you're inviting them, all right, we're going to do this live. When this is recorded and all ready, it's going to go for 97. Okay. You come in now, you get a backstage pass, whether it was 37 or 47. And you'll be able to get your questions answered live, be there for the live experience, which is always valuable, and even shape the way we do this course. Okay. And that really increases the sales on the front end, because people are getting the deal. And there's 2 other cool things about that. One, um, you're building the course with an audience, right? Which is a great way to interact. The other thing is, let's say you sell it for 47, okay, and you get let's go real conservative, and you get 10 people in there. Where I went to school, 47 times 10 is $470, which means you'd be getting paid $470 to create a course,
Mm.
which is I've done it that way since probably 10 years. And that's part of the reason I love doing them live, is just because I love the interaction, and I love thinking, I'm getting paid to do this. So there's that. Uh, you could, on the other end, you could do a course, maybe larger. Um, your stuff also screams for some kind of continuity, some kind of membership site, um,
Mm.
because this is an ongoing changing niche you're in, right?
It is. There's
Yeah.
always something new out there that comes out to help.
Oh yeah, and I was trying. I was watching an old movie with my sons, and they're like, "Dad, why is that guy's hair like that?" I said, "Well, have you ever heard of Brill Cream?" And they're like, "What's that?" And I said, "It was this greasy stuff we combed into our hair to get it like that when I was a kid." And not that I ever make stuff up for them, but they're like, "Oh, come on, Dad, you're making this up. Nobody would do that." And I went, "Let me go get a scrapbook and let me show you." But I don't even know if that exists anymore. Do you? Brill Cream?
I know they have something else I think that they use to keep that slick. I forget what it's called, but I don't think it has that name anymore. I think they named it something else, or the
They
company
updated it.
went out of business and they created something else for that.
You
But
remember the slogan that went with it?
I
Because
don't.
now that we're
I
talking about this, the song is playing in my head. It's Brill Cream, a little dab will do you.
Oh, is that
Okay,
where
folks,
Little Devil Doo came from? Okay.
yeah, that's 50 years old, folks, and
Wow.
some reason it's still in here. And my fear, Dawn, is it's all going to come flowing out one day. All
Enjoy
right,
it while you have it.
what's that?
I said, enjoy it while you have it.
That's that. Yeah, I'm trying. That's like the agreement I have with God. I don't care what color my hair is. It's fine if it's all white, as long as it stays in. Um, so far, he's kept his into that bargain. Um, any questions at this point as we start to wrap up?
You covered so much, and I love everything that you've said because it's given me such great ideas. I'm just
Yay.
thinking, if I went to a $27 price range, is it too low to go at a $27
No, it's
price
not
range
too low.
or something like that?
It's not too low. And you could set markers for yourself like, all right, or you can even promote it this way. I'm gonna do 10 at 27, and
Mm.
then 10 at 37, and 10 at 47. That's one way to do that. Or you could start at 27 and not go any higher with that first cohort. Because then you've got buying behavior, people have experienced you. A portion of those people are going to want to go further with you, and you've got a product that you can sell for whatever you want from then on. So yeah, 27 is fine. Great question. Thank you for that. That's helpful for you and for the group here. All right, we're going to head towards wrapping up. Gosh, there's so much we can do with this, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. What I really love is that, and I want everybody to hear this, where you're asking about, what this, you've taken so many notes and what this could be, and I love it when people get a glimpse of what they could do with this, because it's so exciting, and I can see it on your face. It's fun. So, we'll talk about that more. And folks, speaking of which, if you want to be in Dawn's seat, I don't mean, in her home, where she is now, but I mean, in a content profit seat, we're taking your content and turning it into um, profitable digital products and other things in 20 minutes or less, like we've just done. You can go to that link that's right below. Oh, look at that. When we redid this, it didn't come up. Remember when our things here were our lower thirds were in gold and now they're in blue? Well, I don't have that. I don't have that on screen. Well, Jeff, come on, fix that. Maybe that's why it's doing that. There we go. There they are. Phew. Thought I was losing my mind for a minute. Right down where? Here? No. Right down here. Under my name is contentprofitseat.com. And you can get one right there and be a guest. This thing, John, this thing's really taken off. We're about to fill up March right now. And we'll start scheduling for April. And it's just so much fun. So, hey, thank you for hanging in through the technical difficulties and for being such a great guest. And folks, on the show notes, there'll be a link to check out Dawn's podcast. And again, Dawn, thank you. And folks, you know what? There's so much you can get out of this. And Dawn, not only can you listen to this over again, everybody else can listen to this more than once, right? And the replays will be out shortly. And as always, you know what's coming. Until we meet again, go use this stuff.